Hello everybody, this is the Eye of the Swarm, and you think that doing all the Colossi plus Dorman means there will be no more episodes of this. Well, this is the last one. As you all know, there are 16 Colossi in the game. However, there weren't always 16 Colossi. That's right, we're gonna have a look at the Unused Colossi. Now, their original number was 48, but it was cut down to 24. And we're going to cover each of these Colossi alphabetically. So, hook up, get some popcorn or whatever kind of snacks you want as we have a look at these Unused Colossi and how you would fight them. The first one up is apparently named Devil. Pretty on the nose, and given the origin of the Colossi, I guess it is appropriate. And, well, this is supposed to be the smallest of the Colossi if it was in the game, and you hid in the grass as you shoot a bow at it when it flies. And when it goes in check, you sneak up on it, jump on its back, and stab it. And overall, it's a pretty simple boss. I think they didn't add it because the whole hiding in the grass thing might have been a problem. And also, I do not know exactly what they meant by size. Anyway, here's some concept art. It seems like the wings for one of the ideas for this devil were on its head. Very, very weird. And definitely an interesting concept. Anyway, this next piece shows its true size. If it's really meant to be this small, then I guess it would have been a problem. I mean, the two of the smallest Colossi in the game, Colossus and Colossis, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, are pretty hard to get onto due to their small size and speed. And given how this guy has actual blades, he could have been even worse than that lion and boar. I think they're both lions or big cats. Anyway, yeah, maybe they're as good that this guy never appeared again, but I can have some use. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna cover all the unused Colossi first, then I will cover my own version. So stick around to the end of the video if you want to see my own versions of all these unused Colossi. Next we have Evis, who, well, there's not much to say about this guy. We only got his name and this concept art, which, well, the best way I could describe it is a reverse Minotaur. You know how the Minotaur has a bull head and a human body? Well, this thing has a human head and an animal body. And it looks very skeletal. I've heard that this possibly was the original final boss, but not much to say. There's barely anything on this Colossi. So I guess this has been something late before they cut it. But still though, I would have loved to fight such a weird creature. I mean, would you guys? This Colossi is actually named after the Greek monster Griffin. And, well, when you actually look at these pictures, it's not too hard to see why it is called that. Anyway, we're going to go straight into the concept art, and there's a lot of stuff for this Colossi. So many unique and interesting designs and features. You fight this Colossi similar to Dirge when you have to run on aggro to defeat it. Though there's a bit of Colossia in there by using a torch. I'm surprised this Griffin didn't even fly, given how there are so many other flying Colossi. Next we have Phoenix, and, well, if you know anything about the legendary Firebird, this is pretty standard stuff. Apparently, you lure this colossi in by knocking it out of the air and have it go in a lake, then climbing on top of it. It would be quite interesting to find a colossi wreathed in flames, but I guess it's understandable why they didn't add it. I mean, do you honestly think you can deal with a colossi this complex? Next we have the Rock, or just Rock, and well, this is named after the legendary bird that captures elephants, and from the looks of it, yeah, it is just a giant stone bird. And it's similar to Avion and Phalanx. However, unlike all the other unused Colossus, there's actually some gameplay. Have a look. So yeah, that was quite interesting. It also kind of reminds me of a fell beast, mainly with the wings, long tail, and head. And I kind of wish this guy was around. We do need more flying colossi. The next colossi is known as Siryu, but it's more commonly known as the monkey, even though it looks more like an ape. And actually, this colossi you fight on top of a cave, where it hangs on to the stalactites. And in some of these pictures, it looks more gorilla-like. Others, it has all of its limbs on the ceiling. Others that show just how big and strange it is. But in the end, it's a pretty cool idea of a cave colossi, almost like a cave troll. And it would be nice to fight one in a cave. Then again, we did sort of have that, but there was a Colosseum, not an actual natural cave formation. Here we have Sirius, which has a strange name for a boar, and it's also the fastest of the Colossi, running you down. And the only way to defeat it is to go in a special cave, it getting stuck, and you stabbing it in its back. And as you can see in this concept art, it looks very similar to a creature of Grimm. Interesting observation. Maybe I can use that for a future redesign. Anyway, I think it looks good, and while the whole game caught thing is something I would like to see, I understand why it's not available, especially given how the other small colossi are just as fast, if not this one is even faster. This colossi is known as Spider, and well, if you're an arachnophobe, turn away right now, since you're gonna see some truly nightmare stuff. But then again, it doesn't really have 8 legs. But it looks impressive either way. You defeat this colossi by forcing it on land, slashing it with your sword in these gully bits, and then it will collapse on the ground, allowing you to climb on top of it. Think of this kind of like the tripods from War of the Worlds, mixed with Kamonga. And it's definitely weird. I mean, in this shot, you can see it having long tentacles. Definitely one of the weirdest colossi. And the sword gimmick is the reason why you are not gonna see this guy in the actual game. But still cool anyway. A colossi you have to fight first in water, then on land, is still pretty cool. This might be the largest of the Colossus. This worm. Think of it like Dirge, but a hell lot bigger. The reason why it's not in the game is pretty obvious. It is so damn big that the old hardware couldn't even attempt to try it. And there's not much of it in terms of concepts, even pictures. Though I did manage to find a picture of what its statue would look like. Overall, it should have appeared in the new game, updated remake. I mean, the Dead Space remake alone added a bunch of new stuff, even changed some of the bosses, so why not Shadow of the Colossus? The final one I managed to find is known as Yomori A, and well, it's basically nothing more than a reskin of the 8th Colossus, Kuramori. And, well, if you see its concept of it's literally the same thing. And, well, this was supposed to be the original, similar to how all the Minotaur colossi are different versions of each other. And now, let's get into my own versions. Let's start off with the devil. I mostly stayed the same route as the original. However, instead of giving it swords, I gave it a pretty cool pitchfork. Overall, not much to say other than giving it a more pronounced rib cage, a weird belt buckle thing, furry legs, and, well, that's pretty much it. I think I did a pretty good job here. For Evis, it was really difficult. I couldn't really figure out much. In the end, I mostly stick to the concept art, though I did not give it any major details. The one thing I had trouble with is the environment I would put it in, but I decided on a more forested area. And in the end, I think I did somewhat of a good job. And I kind of wish I could do more angles, but I'm going to stick with this right now. Maybe I'll show more when I make stop-motion models of all the colossi, including the ones already in the game. The griffin has the most notable change since I gave it proper wings. Though I did keep one of the concept design features of the scaly arms and legs, and kept that weird hoop thing around its neck, as well as giving some pretty cool looking red markings on its mask, as well as give it a proper tail that is nice and fluffy. Overall, the griffin may look a bit different, but it still keeps the shape of the creature, and I'm planning on possibly doing other griffins, not just stone ones, in the future. Phoenix was also somewhat difficult, but in the end I did go for a much more swan-like design, and those little fiery bits make it really stand out compared to the other colossi, even the more original ones from the actual game. And yeah, I think this turned out pretty well. Rock was unquestionably one of the most easiest I had to do. I mainly used its original pieces as well as a fell beast from Lord of the Rings for its design. I could have gone for the more bird-esque design, but it gives a nice contrast to Avion, who's clearly the more bird-like one. And I actually like the more snaggletooth look of this colossi, and yeah, not much to say, other than I think the tail having a little webbing on the end is pretty cool. Monkey was strange to do, and also one of the few redesigned colossi I didn't give a mouth to, and I think it's all the better for it. And it also kind of resembles the Incredible Hulk, but at least I kept its ape-like positions intact, though I think I could have done more. Do you think so, guys? Out of all the colossi, I think Colossia was pretty middle in the road, and I think I did pretty well. If I were to say anything else, I kind of wish I added tusks, but I think it looks pretty good right as we see it here. Spider unquestionably is the weirdest colossi I have made. And while this 2D picture is good, it doesn't show how weird I would have made it. Maybe I'll make another picture of this if any of you want it. Write your opinions in below. And also, does it look like one of the tripods from War of the Worlds? Worm unquestionably is the easiest of the colossi I have did. I mean, it was just a big old worm with a terrifying mouth. And one of the other ones that do not have as an important feature, eyes. So I gave it a glowing mouth. Maybe I can give it some energy attacks as well to differentiate it from Dirge. And I kind of wish there was something I could do with scale, but then again I don't know how big this thing would really be. A true Colossus in the most literal meaning of the word. I can definitely see some epic scenes right out of Dune. And finally, Gecko A. who I should probably give a proper name, and all I have to do is do the Kiramori picture, but give it back more open lanes. And it would be found in a similar area. Though, I guess one other detail is it wouldn't have any toxic gas. Maybe a different ability entirely. Anyway, those are all of my colossi I have redesigned from the ones we have known. However, there's an important distinction you must know. There are originally 48 colossi planned for this game, but it was cut. So, why don't I make a few extra colossi to match that number? Oh, the possibilities are endless. Say, if any of you are interested in seeing my possible designs for fan colossi, write them down in the comments below. And if this video reaches so many likes, and more importantly, gets me a lot of subscribers, maybe I'll post that video. But for now, this is the end of analysis of the Colossus. Who knows what I'll do in analysis series on next. But for now, Cheerios, and make sure you don't make deals with evil entities in the roof.
Though this is not the last you'll see of me.